WWE Evolution. It's a great concept when you think about it. I am completely on board with what WWE wants to do because I see the big picture. I see the sheer talent that WWE has in its women's division. You'd have to be blind not to see the amount of talent that WWE has stretched across all three brands, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Will WWE get it right? Probably not. Will this pay-per-view end up being one of the best shows that WWE puts on all year? Probably not. I have been a big advocate for the women's division. And where a lot of people want to call me sexist because I weekly just bring down whatever WWE is trying to do as far as portraying the women, is not the case. In fact, it's the absolute 100% opposite of that. The one thing I don't like about the women's division or the direction of the women is the fact that WWE portrays them in a way that isn't good. It's not good television. People are miscast. Characters and individuals and performers are misused. Tag team matches every week. 6-woman tags every week. 8-woman tags every week. Directionless storylines every week. The same faces pushed every week. Enough. I'm not saying that there isn't a level of excitement around Evolution. I'm just saying, why would you get excited about Evolution when you know for a fact that WWE has done nothing with the women's revolution but code it and mask what the old version of it was? Diva. You just got players in the game now that portray more of a wrestling style. Yet WWE is still hiding underneath everything that they've been trying to push. Diva. If WWE was so for the women's revolution and revolutionizing women's wrestling, can you please tell me why you have Carmella and Alexa Bliss representing both Raw and SmackDown as your champions? You see, where Evolution could be great, it won't. As long as you have Alexa Bliss and Carmella as your champions, this pay-per-view automatically has points deducted from its overall rating. I don't care what you think about these women's title reigns. I don't care what you think about them as performers. I don't care how good you think they portray a heel character. I don't care if you're a super fan, super fan boy, super fan girl. I don't care how many times you jerked off to their posters as it hangs on your bedroom wall. They are pathetic. They are pathetic. They offer you nothing in terms of champion. You see, two things need to have happened before we get to October 20th. One, Alexa Bliss needs to lose the Raw Women's Championship. The other thing that needs to happen is Carmella, Trash Mella, the one who's made of nothing more than Monopoly money. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go directly to jail, Carmella. Both of these women need to lose their respective championships. How you could be on board with a women's pay-per-view and both women's matches on the main roster representing championship matches will have Alexa Bliss and Carmella in it. Oh my God, man. Carmella. It's like Carmella's playing Super Mario World and she can't collect the fucking stars that are scattered around the Mushroom Kingdom. Carmella has had Asuka and Charlotte as her main opponents all year, and she has not even garnered a half a star rating between every match that she's had with Asuka and Charlotte. I beat Asuka twice. I beat Charlotte twice. 4 matches between 2 of the best female performers in the world, and I don't even have a half a star to show for it. Alexa Bliss has not had a decent match all year. I've done as little as anybody else on the roster, yet I'm standing here as your champion. I'm afraid to take a bump, yet I'm here as your champion. The reason why I'm not wrestling, she says, is because I'm portraying a heel character. I'm supposed to not wrestle. I'm supposed to play the cowardly heel. Really? Really now? Why don't you ask Tommaso Ciampa that fucking question? Those 2 things need to happen before we get to Evolution. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. No woulda, coulda, shoulda. No. 100% undeniable fact that those 2 things need to happen before we get to October 28th. Now, it's been uncovered that may not even happen. Ladies and gentlemen, WWE is looking to make Evolution the biggest show of the year. Or at least one of them. Because everything to this company is the biggest ever. With the announcement of the all-women's Evolution pay-per-view set for October, the WWE has made history. Never before has the company produced an event solely promoting women, and the common belief is that they have done this to offset another visit to Saudi Arabia later this year where women aren't allowed to perform. Now, WWE will never outwardly come out and say, yeah, the reason why we're doing this is because the women can't get into Saudi Arabia. They would never say that. You could assume that. You could suggest that. You could do some investigative work and uncover that. But WWE will never outwardly say that. Now, while Vince McMahon clearly wants that Saudi Arabian money, clearly, the old man, that's all he cares about. I mean, if you haven't been watching the shows, good for you. You're saving yourself brain tumors. But clearly, if you watch Monday Night Raw every week, that's all the guy cares about. The quality of the shows are fucking garbage. The company should be commended for having the guts to make a leap of faith with the women, and the results should be interesting. During Stephanie McMahon's announcement on Raw this week, which was overly nauseating, we learned that the SmackDown Live, Raw, and NXT women's titles will be on the line in New York. Furthermore, in the days since the announcement, we have also learned that Trish Stratus, Lita, and Beth Phoenix will be at the event in some capacity, and that's got plenty of fans thinking about some dream matches already. On the latest Wrestling Observer Live, Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer believe that the WWE have an interest in having the 4 horsewomen versus the 4 horsewomen of MMA as the main event for this pay-per-view, and it's a match that the fans and the performers both want equally. For the MMA horsewomen, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler are already on TV starring on Raw and NXT respectively, whereas Marina Shafir recently debuted for NXT and Jessamine Duke is in WWE system with her debut likely imminent. Now, according to reports who have been monitoring their progress already, both ladies are already way ahead of the curve and have looked fantastic considering their lack of experience in wrestling. While that's good news for the company, it would be still big for the WWE here in the risk department to have them main event such a groundbreaking pay-per-view. Asking any of the 4 horsewomen of the MMA to carry a match like this or even play their part is a big risk at this juncture. Furthermore, Rousey looks primed to take the Raw Women's title from Alexa Bliss, so she would need to be in a title match. Then you have the WWE's 4 horsewomen. Sasha Banks, Bayley are on Raw, while Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch are on SmackDown Live. On top of that, Lynch is in a pole position to dethrone Carmella for the SmackDown Live Women's title at SummerSlam. Both of these women would have to lose this match, or lose their matches, for this match to come to fruition, really. And, Banks, Lynch, Flair, Bayley have all stated that they would like to see this match happen at a WrestleMania. Rousey herself has also said she intends to main event WrestleMania 35, so this probably comes too soon from a logical standpoint. Let's break this thing down the best we can. Now, Stephanie McMahon stated that Raw, SmackDown, and NXT will all have women's titles on the line. All 3 brands will have women's championship matches at this show. Stephanie McMahon could have easily said this now, and plans, which are basically 2.5 months plus away, they could easily change. That is nothing new. WWE changes plans all the time. This is nothing new. Does it make the most sense for Ronda Rousey to beat Alexa Bliss? Absolutely. Absolutely. Does it make the most sense for Becky Lynch to beat Carmella? Absolutely. Does WWE need to have women's championship matches for Raw and SmackDown on this show? No. Where is it stated anywhere that WWE needs to have a Raw Women's Championship and a SmackDown Women's Championship match on this show? Nowhere. Nowhere. In fact, if WWE wants to bypass having championship matches for this 4-on-4 elimination match, I think that would be great. I think that might be beneficial for everybody. It gets Sasha Banks, Bayley, Charlotte right now. All 3 of them are not in anything of importance on television. You automatically put them in something important. You got Becky Lynch, who right now is on the best run of her WWE career, heading towards SummerSlam. She could be in a prime position to have a major role going forward on television, whereas those other 3 right now do not. Ronda Rousey is Ronda Rousey. Shayna Baszler, having Shayna Baszler, whose work ethic has been so great, standing next to Ronda and everybody else in that match, who's got a major name in WWE already, could be nothing but good for Shayna Baszler. Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke, if they are ahead of the curve now, and you get them training day in, day out for the next 2 months, I think they would be right at Ronda Rousey's level right now. And where Ronda Rousey is right now, I think we're all pretty comfortable with that. And they would get notoriety. They would be in a prime position to be, oh, I never knew what these women did before. I never knew of these women. She's associated with Ronda Rousey, or they are associated with Ronda Rousey. Now they're household names. And if you are on this bandwagon of getting these UFC women into the WWE, you know WWE wants to fast track them to the spotlight. There's no bigger way to do that than this match. And if you're looking at this match, how long are you going to hold off on this match? How long could you realistically hold off on this match? If it doesn't happen here, it won't happen at Survivor Series either. If you want to toe that line between, well, Sasha and Bayley are on different brands, whereas Charlotte and Becky are on SmackDown Live. Is that going to really be an issue? Are you really going to make that an issue for this show? Which right now is being presented as a one-off. It's just something that they're doing. You know, it doesn't need to have that brand split. Let's keep the brand split separate. You know, let's keep that intact. I think you need to go into the show all guns blazing. You need to make this a dream show. You need to make this a fantasy booker's wet dream. So if you're automatically saying, well, it's going to take away from the brand split, fuck that. I've been more of an advocate for the brand split than anybody. It should not matter in this situation. If it doesn't happen now at Evolution, it's not going to happen at Survivor Series because of the same reason. And when is it going to happen? It's not going to happen at WrestleMania. It's not going to happen at WrestleMania. Charlotte and Ronda are on a collision course for WrestleMania. So if it doesn't happen at WrestleMania, when is it going to happen? You're going to wait yet another whole year for this to happen? If WWE wanted to do this now, this is the absolute perfect time to do that. You have so many women in this company where you could do that match and still give me a kick-ass show. Still give me a kick-ass show. What happened with the Royal Rumble? What happened with the Royal Rumble? Didn't Natty and Beth Phoenix go at it? I'd like to see that. You could do that match at Evolution. Right? Lita is going to be on the show. Lita versus Ruby Riott. There you go. You got Punk Rock versus Punk Rock. Trish Stratus is going to be on the show. Mickie James has already lobbied for a rematch against Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus obviously can still go. Mickie James has done nothing since coming back to the WWE. What a feather in the cap that would be for Mickie James. That would make her return mean everything. Right there, I just booked you 4 matches on top, or 3 matches on top of the 4th, being the 8-woman tag. Kairi Sane versus Asuka. Kairi Sane versus Asuka. Ember Moon versus Toni Storm. A match of 2 up-and-coming talents in WWE. The finals of the Mae Young Classic are going to be there, which you guys have already predicted will be Deonna Purrazzo versus Io Shirai. That's an entire show right there. An entire show right there. The Iconics versus the Bella Twins. Another one. I don't know what else you need from me. I think we got all our bases covered right there. I think we got all our bases covered right there. And if you want to give me Bianca Belair versus a Naomi, I can add that on the show too. Candice LeRae versus Alexa Bliss, you can add that on the show too. Why don't you just pay me the creative money and I'll book this show for you? If WWE doesn't do this 4 horsewoman match now, there may never be another perfect time to do it now. I think everything that I just gave you and broke down for you makes perfect sense. We'll see what WWE does. But all I know is, if WWE is not doing this match, and WWE is going to have Alexa Bliss and Carmella enter this show as champion, then the show will diminish. I think if WWE wants us to have Becky walk out of SummerSlam as SmackDown champion, if WWE wants Ronda to go into SummerSlam, beat Alexa, and walk out of SummerSlam as Raw champion, and do this match, them entering as champions on top of both camps being represented by their best friends, that makes it easily one of the biggest matches that WWE will do all year. It will make it spotlighted on every major news outlet that covers sports across the nation. WWE would be foolish not to do this match. Nowhere is it written that championship matches need to be defended. Or championship matches need to happen in order for those championship matches to be defended on this show. Stephanie might have said that, but plans change. If there's something that comes along that's better, if there's something that comes along that is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, you jump on that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Don't let this one slip through your fingers. If you want to make this show one of the most newsworthy shows in wrestling all year, which you know WWE wants to do, WWE has harped on the first time ever all year, why stop now? Evolution. The WWE 4 Horsewomen versus the MMA 4 Horsewomen. The only negative to this match would be seeing Ronda and Charlotte in the match, in the ring, at the same time, ahead of their proposed match or rumored match at WrestleMania. But it could set up a good story. One or the other could get the best in that match, and then the revenge could happen at WrestleMania. I don't think I need to explain myself any further. I think this is the right idea. I think this is the right match. I think this is the right main event. This is the perfect main event for this show. We'll see what happens. WWE Evolution. It's going to either be a home run or a complete fucking strikeout on WWE's behalf. This is Off the Script, episode 232. This is part number 2. So we're going to hit the intro. We're going to be right back. I got major stories, man. That's not the only major story I got. The other major story is going to be at the top of this podcast, right after the intro. AJ Styles, Nakamura, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows. Are they leaving WWE? Are they going back to New Japan? I got the story right here on Off the Script. Off this shitty fucking product by coming on here and speaking the fucking goddamn truth about this fucking filth.
I can book a better show taking a fucking dump after eating my fucking Chipotle chorizo with extra cheese.
I don't give a fuck what anybody has to say. Have I ever? Of course not.
WWE's great, man. Fuck you, Japan, and Kenny Omega, Okada. Johnny! What is it, man? Can I suck your dick? What is it, man?
Well, this is the #1 fucking podcast.
Right here on YouTube.com!
This is Off the Script. So I just got word that episode 2 of Cutting Corners on House of Glory's YouTube channel is going to be live today. I don't know what time. I don't know when I will be presented with the file to upload to their channel. But all I know is it's going live today. And as soon as it goes live, depending on when you see this video or not, it will be linked in the annotation that you see in the top right corner. I will personally put it there for you guys to view. And if you want, please follow me on Twitter for all the latest updates at JDFROMNY206. So you guys know for sure when it goes live. And I'll even link you guys down in the comment section, and I will pin the link down in the comment section as I interview the queen of House of Glory, Miss Sonya Strong, ahead of her big tag team match on August 17th in New York City as House of Glory presents High Intensity 7, their biggest show of the year, which already features Sami Callihan, Enzo, and Austin Aries. Should be good. Plus, I'll be there, and I'm going to have a major guest for a pre-show panel right before the show goes live. So make sure you guys are aware of what's going on. And if you want to be there in person and you're going to be in New York City, HOGWrestling.net. Do it. Because I said so. Anyway, thank you guys for stopping by. As always, Off the Script, 232, part number 2. Part 1 did great. Better than in recent weeks, man. I was shocked. I put that motherfucker up, and within 2.5, 3 hours, it was almost at 10,000 views immediately. Right now, it sits at like 24,000 real-time views. Not even a full 24 hours yet. So clearly, the big story going into SummerSlam is that Brock Lesnar does not want Roman Reigns one-on-one. And if I'm a betting man and I ask him personally, Brock, what do you want? I guarantee you he would not give you the answer of Roman. So if you guys missed that, it will be linked with the Sonya Strong interview in the top right corner of your screen. So please go and check that out. If you missed anything else on the channel, Raw, SmackDown Live, NXT, I even did a fucking Slammiversary Impact review. So go check all that stuff out live on the channel right now. BarbershopWindow.com for the best looking t-shirts for any podcast on the planet. Why? Just look. I don't need to tell you why. Go to the store. You'll know why. BarbershopWindow.com/offthescript. 15 designs. And if you go to Barbershop Window right now, they will automatically want to give you a coupon code. So they want you to save money. If you visit the site, you're going to get 20% off. So why aren't you buying a fucking t-shirt, man? Go buy a t-shirt. They're beautiful. Can't you tell? I'll be in Chicago. I'll be in New York. You guys better be meeting and greeting me with one of these shirts, man. I mean, who doesn't like this fucking beaver shirt? Look at that beaver on the They Do It For Roman shirt, bro. Come on, man. Go get it. BarbershopWindow.com/offthescript. Harry's.com/script for your free trial shave set. Handle, blade, gel, and case for free. It's going to be the best shave of your life. Guarantee it. All you guys got to do is sign up, pay the shipping and handling, which is $2 or $3, and it'll be delivered right to your mailbox. No questions asked, man. Official sponsor right now, Harry's of Off the Script. It's Harry's.com/script. And then Audible. audibletrial.com/offthescript. They have been very good friends of the podcast for over a year and a half now. And Audible is giving you guys, listeners of this show, 1 month free of their service. And that includes 1 free audiobook of your choice. You got a lot of wrestling-related content there. But if you don't like wrestling, there's 200,000 books plus on Audible site to choose from, man. Drama, science fiction, crime, fantasy, it's all there, man. Romance, politics, wrestling, it's all there, man. Sports, everything's there right at the touch of a button. audibletrial.com/offthescript. Free audiobook, 30 days free. Do it. And if you guys have already signed up, tell a friend, tell a family member, tell your girlfriends, folks, tell a colleague at work, tell a classmate. It doesn't matter, man. Support Audible. Give the gift of Audible if you have already given yourself the gift of Audible, and support Off the Script. Thank you guys so very much, man. Also, follow me on Twitter at JDFROMNY206. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. And if you guys want to support the podcast in another way, which is probably the best way to do so, Patreon. Patreon.com/JDFROMNY206. Right now, we got one with another one coming very soon. We got the 1993 King of the Ring Off the Script Retro. If you guys want to subscribe to the Patreon page for $5 or more, you're going to get an extra hour of audio for your week, man. The 1993 King of the Ring. We sit down like we do right here. Same layout and everything. Instead of talking about news and rumors and talking about Roman Reigns, we're talking about Yokozuna, Hulk Hogan, Bret the Hitman Hart, the 1993 SummerSlam, and why Bret Hart did not wrestle Hulk Hogan, and why the 1993 King of the Ring was the best, or one of the best pay-per-views that WWE has ever produced. We talk about that. If you guys want to listen to that, patreon.com/JDFROMNY206. Ladies and gentlemen, New Japan Pro Wrestling is right now just sitting back, waiting, and they have this mentality of, I want to fuck over WWE bad. Badly. New Japan wants to enter the United States. They want to have a major influence here in the United States. You can see what they're trying to do. Their shows out in California, the G1 specials. They got the G1 Supercard coming in April to Madison Square Garden, which is ungodly in its own right. But New Japan is not going to stop there. They are planning, they are manipulating, they are scheming for what is to come towards the end of this calendar year. New Japan wants Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles, and Gallows and Anderson back on their side, on their team. More and more recently, it seems that WWE have been poaching talent from New Japan Pro Wrestling. The likes of Finn Balor, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura are just a few of the names who have made that move recently. In fact, we could be seeing a few more names join them in the future, with WWE apparently keen on you-know-who. Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Juice Robinson now added to the list. Cody Rhodes have all been thrown around recently, with some of their contracts ending later this year. Although it's very well documented, if WWE are interested in taking some talent from the indie circuit, we don't often hear about superstars going the other way. Now, most of the time, fans aren't too bothered about stars being released from the company to join another promotion. But the latest reports could be very worrying. I want to touch upon what this report stated. It's very well documented, if WWE are interested in taking some talent from the indie circuit, you know, they'll pull from whoever, Ring of Honor, New Japan. You know, we don't often hear about guys in WWE leaving WWE after making a shitload of money, making a name for themselves, a household name for themselves, in the spotlight everywhere, and then leaving that to go to a New Japan or a Ring of Honor. It's not unlikely for that to happen. It doesn't happen all that often. It's very rare. It's usually the other way around. You make your name somewhere else, and you make yourself even more money and a bigger name in the WWE. So if this happens, it would be, I wouldn't say revolutionary. It would be shocking. And it would be different than what we've seen in recent years. According to Dave Meltzer, he wouldn't be at all surprised if 3 huge names leave WWE for New Japan by 2019. Actually, they wouldn't be leaving for the promotion, but more like rejoining it. The journalists that were in communication with Meltzer have tipped Nakamura, Gallows, and Anderson. They are 3 superstars that New Japan could make big money offers to when their current WWE deals run out. He states, and I quote, "It wouldn't completely shock me. I know they do want Nakamura back," Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio. "There will be attempts for all those guys. Gallows and Anderson, if they want to go back there, they can go back there. They're kind of treading water in WWE. Who knows how that's going to go? I don't anticipate anyone going back there, but you just don't know how people feel and what they want out of life." End quote. Although Meltzer didn't anticipate any of these moves happening, WWE fans will slightly be concerned that New Japan have made their interest in these 3 very clear. Thankfully, though, it seems that other names like Balor and Styles right now are very happy with the company right now. But certainly for Gallows and Anderson, it wouldn't be surprising to see them jump ship back to Japan, where they found much more success. Juice Robinson is another one. The next few months will be interesting in pro wrestling like we all know already. Dave Meltzer is reporting that there is great interest in Juice Robinson. Many of you remember him as CJ Parker in NXT, where he came out and was for the Earth and to take care of the Earth and a better planet. The hipster that he played, which was awful. CJ Parker in NXT, but now has left the coziness of NXT, has gone over to New Japan, and has made himself into a major name. There is more buzz around Robinson after the match with Jay White at the G1 special in San Francisco, and he was featured on the latest Being the Elite. Meltzer notes that a number of New Japan Pro Wrestling regulars are not currently under contract, similar to when AJ Styles was there. This means that they can reach out to those wrestlers without being accused of tampering. WWE could very well do that if they so choose. There are others under contract that WWE wants, but they have to approach them differently under they are free and clear. As previously noted, the Young Bucks contracts will be up later this year. Kenny Omega's deal expires in January, and you can bet that WWE will be making massive money deals to them ahead of the G1 Supercard show at Madison Square Garden being put on by New Japan and Ring of Honor. I don't know what Nakamura's stance is. All I know is that Nakamura is, 36 years old, 37 years old? Meltzer was right. Nobody knows what these people want out of life. If Nakamura left New Japan for WWE, clearly he wanted to fulfill career desires. He has not done that yet. It's not like Nakamura doesn't have a major program on television on a weekly basis. It's not that Nakamura isn't catering or they've ruined him. Nakamura is a beloved WWE superstar. That's the vibe I get. Whether his booking shows that or not is irrelevant. The guy's got a major role on television. He sits as the United States champion right now. He didn't win the WWE championship? Fine. Doesn't mean he's not going to ever win a WWE championship, or the potential of him winning a WWE championship is diminished just because of who he is or his background. They'd be foolish not to put the title on Nakamura. Nakamura's a great talent. Whether you feel like they ruined him in WWE coming up from NXT is, again, subjective. Yes, there's differences between Nakamura and NXT and the Nakamura we see on the main roster. But that doesn't take away from the fact that he's got a major role on television and is a major superstar in the company that I'm sure is making very good for himself. Not only being on television as the United States champion, not only being a face of SmackDown Live moving forward, but in merchandise as well. AJ Styles is going nowhere. There's a reason why AJ Styles left New Japan. Because AJ Styles is now a lifer in WWE. This is something that he wanted, and WWE has taken very good care of AJ Styles. He will go nowhere. AJ will not be going back to New Japan. AJ's family is here. AJ's family is in the United States. AJ's family is in Georgia. AJ's going to be making more money than he ever has in his entire life when his contract is up. Mark my words. Nakamura is going to be making more money than he's ever made in his entire life. Mark my words. Do you think WWE signing Matt Riddle is WWE being nervous about what's going on right now in the landscape of professional wrestling? Wait till you sit down with AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura and conduct a new deal. Nobody in WWE right now is going anywhere. And they will make sure that they do not go anywhere. Again, I don't know what these people want out of life. And it might not be what everybody wants. But it's very difficult to sit here and argue that these people right now who are in the WWE as contracted employees, it's very difficult to sit here and argue that it's not a great time to be a professional wrestler. Whatever is going on right now with New Japan, the Elite, the Bullet Club, All In, G1 Supercard, whatever is going on right now is only a good thing. People are going to get paid. I don't know how valuable money is to Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. All I've heard from people who know them personally is that they are happy, they are comfortable, minus what they are doing on television. Because they get to spend time with their families. Carl Anderson is set to have a new child. He wants to be home with his family, and he wants to be making money, and he wants to be secure with what he's got going on right now financially. And WWE is that gateway to financial stability. We can all sit here and say, yeah, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson have been misused and miscast and underutilized. Abso-fucking-lutely. The way they're portrayed on television is trash. It's easy to say, go to New Japan and win the IWGP Tag Team Championships. It's easy to say that. It's easy to want that. But maybe they don't want that anymore. They have nothing to prove over there anymore. As you grow older, you realize that that may be something that you wanted early on. You've accomplished that. And why go back there to only kind of rewrite history? You've already made history there. Now, there's something more important than going back and winning tag team titles for a promotion in which you've already dominated. Family, your kids, your wife. It's tough to turn down the money that WWE is going to be offering these people. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson don't have a role on television right now. But that doesn't mean WWE's not going to sign them up and keep them. They don't want anybody going to New Japan. They don't want anybody going to Ring of Honor. G1 Supercard has instilled fear in WWE. Whether you want to believe it or not, whether they want to admit it or not. G1 Supercard was a massive game changer. WWE will not allow anyone to go anywhere. AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, the club, they're all going to be making 10 times more money than they're making right now. Daniel Bryan, we don't know if Daniel Bryan signed or not. I could have people telling me that I know personally, Bryan signed, sealed, and delivered. You're just not going to hear about it yet. You think they're going to let Daniel Bryan walk? Daniel Bryan is a guy that could change the face of wrestling on the indies, in which WWE will be trembling in fear. CM Punk as well, which we'll have news on CM Punk tomorrow. Because right now, he is even being talked about for G1 Supercard. And Ring of Honor has reached out to Punk personally already. So you know where their mentality is. Fuck WWE. Nobody's going anywhere. Juice Robinson. Juice Robinson is a name that in NXT, he did nothing. Now he's IWGP United States Champion. Juice Robinson has stated, I'm not going back there ever. Now, I don't know if he was in character saying that. I don't know if he was legit really feeling that or just feeling that in that moment when he was being asked that question. But when someone is telling me I am not going there ever again, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. That's not the way I'd operate. You know? You're going to devalue yourself and hold yourself back from making the money you think you deserve by staying in New Japan the rest of your career. That may be reserved for some of the guys over there. Not a guy like Juice Robinson. Not a guy like Juice Robinson. Juice Robinson is not even 30 years old yet. Does Juice Robinson want to go back to the WWE now? No. Does Juice Robinson want to go back to the WWE again eventually? Yes. Absolutely. He doesn't need to go back to the WWE now. There's more work to be done. There's more work to be done. The more you prove to be successful in New Japan, the more championships you put on your resume, the more great matches you have in that company is only going to net you more money. Do not make the jump now when it's not necessary. Yeah, they want you. So that's going to mean they're going to want you 2 years from now, 3 years from now. Juice Robinson is not a game changer. So if WWE doesn't snatch him up, it's not going to be no big loss. WWE right now is in the mentality of just grabbing anybody they can because they want to say fuck you to New Japan. But Juice Robinson is a name that if WWE does not sign him, it's not going to be the end-all, be-all. He's not going to be a game changer in the industry. Juice Robinson should just concentrate on doing what he needs to do and work even harder to get an even bigger payday when he eventually gets back to the WWE. Because I don't believe him for a fucking second that he doesn't want to go back to the WWE ever. Why the fuck not? If I'm Juice Robinson, I'm proving everybody wrong now, and then I'm going to show back up in NXT, and I'm going to fucking blow away everybody that fired me, didn't believe in me, put me down, and I'm going to show them what you did years ago was a mistake. The gimmick you gave me years ago was garbage. You don't need to do that now. Just continue building your resume for yourself. New Japan may want all these guys, but the money that WWE has right now, very difficult to turn down. Again, I state, Meltzer is right. We don't know what these people want out of life right now. If wrestling is all they have, and wrestling is all they want, then go to New Japan. I'm sure they'll welcome you back with open arms, and they'll book you like WWE never booked you. But a lot of these guys, Styles, wants financial stability. Styles has been rumored to be saying that he wants to retire in 2 or 3 years. How much longer do you think Styles has in this industry? WWE's going to throw whatever they can at Styles to keep him. He's going nowhere. Nakamura, I read, has his family in Florida. How important is Nakamura and his family? How important is his family to him? Whereas if he goes to Japan, he might not see his family at all. His family is located in Florida. He moved here with his family. The reason he moved here was to have Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan's back. We haven't gotten that yet. You think Nakamura's going to go anywhere when the reason he came to WWE was because he wanted Daniel Bryan one-on-one? The only ones that I see possibly leaving are Gallows and Anderson. And even that, I don't believe they'd leave. No matter how they're booked on television. New Japan can try, but nobody will be able to compete with WWE with the amount of money that they have. And the way WWE is thinking right now, I know for a fact that they're shaking in their boots about letting anybody go because those guys are game changers. Now WWE with Omega, the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, who knows? Who knows? All WWE has right now is the mindset of G1, WrestleMania weekend. We cannot have these guys show up at Madison Square Garden. It's going to be very interesting. Very interesting. But if the Young Bucks re-sign with New Japan and Kenny Omega re-signs with New Japan, they might be able to, without actually physically talking to these guys, kind of sway the way the winds are going. If they stay with New Japan and these guys feel that New Japan can make a difference, maybe that could lead those guys to go over there. I don't know. Again, nobody knows what these guys want out of life. But the financial stability in WWE, too difficult to walk away from. WWE might change one SummerSlam match before we get to Brooklyn. And no, it ain't Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. WWE officials are already considering a change to one match right now on SummerSlam's card. WWE has already confirmed that some big matches for the upcoming SummerSlam pay-per-view event include AJ Styles vs. Samoa Joe for the WWE title, Roman Reigns vs. Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship, and many more. However, based on one rumor that is making the rounds, WWE Chairman Vince McMahon might make a change to the upcoming Intercontinental Championship match. The Twitter account WrestleVotes, which has broken previous WWE stories, noted the following about Seth Rollins and the Intercontinental title match with Dolph Ziggler at SummerSlam. The Twitter account wrote the following, and I quote, "Texting with a source. Don't be surprised to see one of the SummerSlam matchups already confirmed changed. Don't get your hopes up. It's not Reigns and Lesnar. Hearing the IC title match may not end up being Rollins versus Ziggler one-on-one," end quote. Ziggler, who is a former WWE heavyweight champion, has been with the company for over a decade. He signed with WWE in 2004 and was placed in the company's developmental brand, OVW. He was called up to the main roster in 2006 during the McMahon DX storyline. After that storyline ended, the group did as well, and Ziggler has been on his own since. He's also won the Money in the Bank ladder match in 2012, where he could go on, or where he did go on to defeat Alberto Del Rio for the world title on Monday Night Raw in one of the best moments in Monday Night Raw history. At one point, many fans thought he was the future of WWE. However, that wasn't the case, and he has been in a mid-card purgatory for many years now. The SummerSlam pay-per-view takes place on Sunday, August 19th, 2018. Brooklyn is the center again for SummerSlam at the Barclays Center. And the card is as follows right now before this rumored change. Lesnar, Reigns, Styles, Joe, Bliss, Rousey, Ziggler, Rollins, Carmella, Lynch, and Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens with the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line. This is the one match you want to change. The one match that probably doesn't need to be changed. All you need to do is add a stipulation to it. That's the change that needs to happen in that match. Adding anybody else to the match, I mean, you're just kind of stretching at that point. What has anybody done for an Intercontinental Championship match besides Ziggler and Rollins? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The only one that would probably be a guy that makes sense is Drew McIntyre. For two reasons. One, how are you going to have a SummerSlam card without Drew McIntyre on it? Two, WWE doesn't necessarily have to break Ziggler away from McIntyre, but all you could do is cause some dissension there. Possible tag team match on Raw with the next 2 weeks coming up. Maybe McIntyre throws a temper tantrum and says, "I'm tired of being in the background now. You know, this is not really what I signed up for. I'm better than this. You don't need me anymore. If you're so good, why don't you put the title on the line against me and Rollins?" Something along those lines. Something. I don't know. But McIntyre would probably be the only one that makes sense here. Now, if WWE is going to add anybody else to this match, it could be McIntyre. It could be Finn Balor. It could be both of those guys. Both of those guys have had run-ins with McIntyre. Balor's had run-ins with Rollins. They've had a history, you know. Or if WWE wants to even make this worse, you can make it a fatal five-way. And add Baron Corbin. Because right now the rumored match is Baron Corbin versus Finn Balor at SummerSlam. I'd much rather see Balor and Corbin in that match away from a one-on-one match, because the one-on-one match doesn't make any sense. But again, I ask, what does Baron Corbin and Finn Balor have to do with the Intercontinental Championship when they haven't had anything to do with that title? Now, but this is the one match you want to change, though, right? The one match that really doesn't need to be changed. The one match that needs to be changed is the one that you have up top in the main event. I don't know what WWE has planned. I really don't care at this point. SummerSlam has not been special to me at all for years. At all. So whatever the WWE has planned right now for the IC title, I don't care. Give me Ziggler, give me Rollins, give me a ladder match. Simple. Balor versus McIntyre. Simple. There you go. Make that a number one contender Intercontinental Championship match. Baron Corbin doesn't need to be on the show. Who the fuck wants to see Baron Corbin wrestle Finn Balor again? Nobody. We didn't want to see the Extreme Rules. There's no reason for them to be feuding anymore. It's over. SummerSlam right now has zero excitement surrounding it from me. I am going into this very blah. I'm going into this shrugging my shoulders. I don't care. We'll see what happens, man. Moving on here. Dave Meltzer tells Chad Gable to leave the WWE. If anybody needs to follow in the footsteps of Juice Robinson, it could be Chad Gable. WWE's roster continues to grow, and as they continue to sign more talent from the independent scene and elsewhere, it gets harder for the current main roster mid-card guys to stand out. Chad Gable wrestles at live events, but he hasn't been featured in a dedicated storyline since he was drafted to Monday Night Raw a few months ago. During the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer radio show, Meltzer talked about Gable and suggested that it might be time to leave and do what Cody Rhodes did. Rhodes was underutilized, but he's quickly become one of the hottest names on the independent scene. I quote, "Of all the guys in that company, I would never recommend anyone necessarily leaving," Meltzer said. "But I would strongly recommend him leaving. It's not even funny. He needs to get out of there. He is so talented. If he left, he would do great. And he's an ex-Olympian. He would do freaking great. Then WWE would probably want him back, and they would respect him a lot more." End quote. Meltzer mentioned how Gable and Jay White both broke into the business around the same time, and White is a good wrestler, and he has started to really come into his own with his persona. White continues to make a name for himself in New Japan, while Gable has faded on WWE's main roster. The sad part is that Gable is arguably a better wrestler than Jay White, and he can show his personality if creative allows him. I quote here, "I don't see Chad Gable," Meltzer said. "I don't even know where he is anymore. I know he's on the roster and I know he's working house shows, but it's like he's non-existent." End quote. At this point, there's nothing indicating that WWE has a storyline for him for SummerSlam. Perhaps Meltzer is right and Gable should try to build his name outside of WWE for the next couple of years. You see, WWE would be that foolish to let a guy like Chad Gable go because they don't realize what they have in Chad Gable. You know, there's a storyline awaiting Chad Gable. His name is Jason Jordan. WWE needs to start fixing what has been broken for years, and that is the Raw Tag Team division. It starts with Gable and Jordan. Simple. You feature these guys and you push these guys in a prominent role. You know, where the tag team division sits now, AOP, Revival, and American Alpha. Those are three teams that could carry the load on Monday Night Raw for a tag team division while you come up with other ways to incorporate more teams. Or here's a better idea. Why don't we start merging the tag team divisions? There's no reason to have two sets of titles. None. I've said this from day one. Day one, I've said this. You got no teams on Monday Night Raw that are of any value. Same thing goes on SmackDown Live. There should be one set of titles, and there should be tag team matches to come up with contenders for said title, and there should be a roaming champion. For example, who's the tag team champions now on Monday Night Raw? The B Team. They would be floating to Raw and SmackDown respectively. B Team versus the New Day. B Team versus the Club. B Team versus the Usos. B Team versus the Bar. The Bar versus the Revival. AOP versus the Usos. So on and so forth. Why isn't this being implemented? You're about to institute and incorporate women's tag team titles, right? Right? You're about to do that. Certainly that ain't gonna work with the current model you have for both Raw and SmackDown. You ain't coming up with two sets of titles. If you did, it would be a failure. How would you go about women's tag team champions? They would be free roaming. The tag team champions can show up on Raw. The tag team champions can show up on NXT. The tag team champions can show up on SmackDown Live. It makes the shows that much more important. It makes the titles that much more valuable. So if you're going to do that for the women, why aren't you doing that for the men? The tag team division needs to be fixed. You need a role for Chad Gable? Fucking get him back with Jason Jordan and give me American Alpha and fix your tag team division. WWE would be stupid enough to let Chad Gable go. And then they'd wonder, why we let this guy go? He put on a 5-star match with Juice Robinson in New Japan. He put on a 5-star match with Kenny Omega. Gable, if he wanted to leave WWE, I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame him. How important is this wrestling thing to Chad Gable? He could certainly go to New Japan and make a name for himself and prove himself to WWE and then give them the finger. But again, is WWE going to allow anybody to go? No matter if they're big or small. You need something for Chad Gable to do? WWE, I know you're fucking listening to me. Get this guy on TV, get American Alpha back, and fix your fucking tag team division. I don't know how many fucking times I gotta tell you. It will work. Take my money if you're going to give me the Bar versus American Alpha or the Revival versus the Usos. AOP versus the Usos. I mean, you fucking out of your mind. What are you going to do when War Raiders come up? What, are they going to be like the Ascension? Well, what's going to happen when Undisputed Era comes up? They're going to be like the fucking Ascension? God knows what's going to happen to teams like Heavy Machinery, Street Profits, TM61, doomed to be wasted. Fix it. It's not that fucking difficult. Stephanie McMahon. Speaking of the tag team titles, Stephanie McMahon comments on women's tag team titles and the rumors of these tag team titles. What did she actually say about it? Monday was a huge deal for the female roster and wrestling in general. Now that it has been announced that Evolution's pay-per-views and all women's pay-per-view will be happening in October, the next question is, when will WWE introduce women's tag team titles? For over a year now, there have been talks about introducing a secondary women's title, but they've held off on that because there weren't enough women on the roster to make it work, especially with the brand split. Now they have more women than ever before, and there are women in NXT that are ready to move up to Raw and SmackDown Live. It seems like WWE is getting closer because there were designs made for new women's titles. However, Stephanie McMahon, during an interview with Sky Sports, says that we won't see those titles at the Evolution pay-per-view. She did say that she's heard from fans that they will introduce these titles at some point. Ticket Drew has confirmed with me that they are made, that they will be introduced. So don't get your hopes up about not wanting to see them. McMahon said, not quite yet, but that's absolutely something we've heard loud and clear from our fan base, and it's something we're keen on implementing as soon as we are able to do it. McMahon was also asked if she would be wrestling on the pay-per-view. God, I hope not. She said, and I quote, that's yet to be determined. We want to make sure our superstars really get the spotlight they deserve, but if it makes sense, then absolutely. But that's yet to be determined. No, Stephanie McMahon does not need to be on this show at all, in any way possible. There's more than enough to make this special without clouding it with Stephanie McMahon's me. Another question was whether or not the backlash the company received back in April for what transpired or what didn't transpire in Saudi Arabia at the Greatest Royal Rumble event is the reason why this event is taking place. For the past several years, WWE has been really pushing the women's revolution. However, when the promotion signed on to put on a mega show for Saudi Arabia, it excluded any female matches from the card due to the country's culture. Recently, Triple H was interviewed by ESPN to discuss the announcement of Evolution and was asked if the backlash WWE received from not having any female matches on the Saudi Arabian card led to the inception of the all-female pay-per-view event. This is what he stated, and I quote, let's take Saudi Arabia off the table. Let's just say it never happened. Would anybody question that they deserve this opportunity? To me, it's a ridiculous statement. The timing of it. You cannot affect change in a region that culturally is trying to change. You cannot help them affect that change without being there. End quote. Like I said, WWE would never outwardly admit that this is happening because of the Saudi Arabian show or the ones to come over the next 10 years that I'm sure if WWE is putting on or is planned to put on. But as far as the tag team titles go, If it's going to be floating, roaming titles from brand to brand, I'm for it. You got to make it work. You got to make sense of it. If you don't make sense of it, I will be here waiting to shit all over it. And again, fix the men's. If you're going to take care of the women at the same time, please fix the men's. We're going to end with this. Major update on the return of Jason Jordan. Jason Jordan hasn't been seen on Monday Night Raw since February. Back then, he was involved in a storyline with Seth Rollins and until the Royal Rumble in late January. The pair held the Raw Tag Team titles. It's fair to say that at the turn of the year, Jordan was in the middle of a huge push. But unfortunately, a pretty serious injury ended that prematurely. Since then, he's recently been making public appearances for WWE, which would also suggest that he's close to a return. In fact, fans have been expecting to see Jordan appear on Raw for weeks now, but it hasn't happened. A number of outlets, including ProWrestling.com, reported that he hasn't been back on TV simply because WWE Creative doesn't have a plan for him. However, this is not the case. According to PW Insider and Mike Johnson, Jordan actually has not even been cleared yet. I quote, "He just hasn't been cleared. It's a neck injury," Johnson said of Jordan's absence on the latest installment of PW Insider Elite Audio. He's involved in community outreach events and promotional things for WWE, but they're not going to put him back in the ring on a full-time level until doctors feel he can do it and be healthy and not re-injure himself. They are very, very cautious now. End quote. Understandably, as Johnson suggests, WWE will be very careful with any superstar returning from a neck injury or neck surgery. Therefore, despite multiple reports suggesting that Jordan could return any day now, perhaps don't expect him to make an appearance until later this fall. Simple. You guys want the answers? I got it for you. Where's Jason Jordan? WWE Creative don't have anything for him, which very well still may be the case, but it's not the real reason. He just isn't cleared yet. Jordan, Gable, right time to return. And I'm getting out of here. Thank you guys so very much, man. Tomorrow, the major story we got tomorrow. Ring of Honor has reached out to CM Punk. CM Punk responds. I got that tomorrow, right here on Off the Script. Thank you guys so very much. Follow me on Twitter, at JDFROMNY206. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for notifications. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Slammiversary, Off the Script, Part 1 this weekend. And Cutting Corners Episode 2 with Sonya Strong, live right now. Go check them out. Show your support. Patreon.com/JDFROMNY206. And I'll see you guys right back here tomorrow for Part 3 of Off the Script. I'll talk to you later.